MDS partnership with IEBC, I believe and strongly, I'm so convinced now, will not only build on IEBC's experience, achievement and best practice, and lessons learned from the 2013 general election, and from the pilot phase that we've just seen from Garissa, but I believe will take us to a more inclusive and a place where Kenyans can trust elections. Let's support MDS, the relevance of this partnership and this project, and I believe the expected outcome that we should get from this partnership with all of us, one, is to mitigate the social cultural barriers that we say. That should be an expected outcome of this partnership. Two, that we shall help strengthen the regulatory framework in electoral processes as an outcome. And thirdly, we shall enhance knowledge levels on women, youth, PWDs, and of course on gender gains, electoral laws in all 47 counties. We should partner to ensure that these rights are nurtured from the grassroots and sustained in an electoral process. Let me just give you a scenario. In the 2013 general election, we had 0 senator elected as a woman, 0 senator elected competitively as a young person, and out of the 290 MPs that we have in Parliament, only 16 were elected as women. All the rest, we basically applied the two-third principle, what is normally known as the freebies. Come to governors, we had 0 women or youth elected competitively as governors. MCAs, only 85 women were elected competitively out of the 1,450, 1,450. And the youth, we don't quite have enough data on that, and I hope the research can take that up. And the marginalized, PWDs, those who are elected competitively, people living with disability. In governors, do you know of any? You can see. Senator, apart from those who've been nominated because of the two-third principle. None. Deputy governor. The youth, mnaskika. Okay, none. And you know, how many are women? Only 6. So what does that tell us? There is a lot of inequality in elections. People living with disability don't have the chance to campaign and be elected. The young people can't sustain a campaign. They don't have the money. Women, you know the history. Name calling, being branded whichever name, etc. So we would like data to be available if the research people can take it up. We want data of how many people or youth are willing to participate in a competitive way to run for the various electoral seats. The same with people with disability and those who live in marginalized areas. We would like that data so that MDS now, together with IEBC, can craft messages to ensure that we can change the attitudes of people, that disability is not inability, that being a young person does not mean you do not. By the way, let me give you an example. Maybe that's where Dr. is from. The youngest MP, 27 years old. My friend, that young man has brought a lot of development. He's so visionary that even the current chair of COG, there's a lot of battle of who will tarmac a road and who will put pipes. He's moving with speed. You know, for him, he has no interest. His interest is to touch the lives of people. And guess what? He began a youth group of making balls, and now they're importing the same balls abroad. That youth group, in fact, is a case study on YouTube, is making money. And these are the cases we are saying that young people, indeed, given an opportunity, can become very good leaders. Are we willing to give them that platform? And do they know that they can? Do they have that awareness that they can? Those are the messages that we need to take out. And another scenario. Campus elections are very heated. All of us, somewhat, or college, have been in an institution where elections are very vibrant. What happens to these leaders? Where do they go to? After Sonu or Mosu, where do they go to? There's a gap there. And is it that we as a society don't give them an opportunity to nurture the talent or the leadership skills that they have? Those are questions we need to ask. And maybe MDS can be able to communicate that from as early as now to ensure that this is possible. So this partnership with MDS is the right step towards the design, the support of our agenda of inclusion as a country. Peace and conflict, so that the young versus the old. The young will always fight the old, saying, you guy, let me give you a scenario that all of you know. I believe all of you have been watching, is it Makueni? Chap Chap and what's the, yeah, and the party of Kalonzo. It's a very interesting case study for those who like political science to study. And you can see the mindset of young leaders, and you can also see the mindset of the old leaders. How do we make them so that the experience of the old and the efficiency of the young can all come together, blend well, and help move the country forward? How do we craft messages to ensure that cohesion begins from that level, so that we stop hating each other? Nikiona unaleta maendeleo chapchap, or nikiona unafanya hivi, I hate you. Indeed, if we can undo that animosity, we would have done our country a lot of justice. So that even as we encourage the youth, we shall not neglect the old who have been there. That we shall fuse in their experience and the agility of the young people, fuse them for the betterment of our country. So going forward, it is not an option, but it is compulsory as instituted by the Constitution, that this right of all these groups must be realized, must be nurtured, and must be sustained. And as I come to my conclusion, we need to preach the message of accepting defeat. It's amazing that in Kenya, everybody who goes to elections, it's true to always be optimistic. But have we prepared people to accept defeat? And are they willing, even from MCAs? I don't know how many have ever been involved in observing elections. And it's, yes, like the MCAs right now, it will be a very heated, contested elective position. Like one of the laws we have proposed as IEBC is we want them at least to have a diploma. It's bringing a lot of heat. Reason being, in the last law, we said any post-secondary education. It was neither here nor there. If I go for a 2-month course, that's post-secondary training, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I can vie, and there's somebody else who's gone for a degree. So how do we draw the line? This time round, In fact, members of parliament, which we're going to discuss, it's going to be very heated in the next week, said, Apana, these guys are making laws that are affecting the county. They should have a degree. And we hit a deadlock there. We said, no, let this thing be progressive so that it is not punitive. Because if I haven't gone to school, give me time at least to go to school for the 1 year to get my diploma, and then I can vie for the next elective position. Then they're saying, I don't know whether you saw the craze. We had quite a number of people. We had Charity Ngilo, we had Sonko, all of them graduating in a span of like 2 years. Yeah, they all went back to school to ensure they were clever. Now when they sit at the table, what are they going to say? Kila mtu apate nini? Yeah, so these are the things MDS must begin to communicate to the community. That the people we elect, it is not just anyone. It is somebody who is going to legislate on your behalf at the county level. If we live in Nairobi and we are saying that our garbage or environment, and then you take somebody who has no clue and make him the chairman of that committee, what are you doing to your county? Those are the things we need to communicate to the citizen, that it's not just about choosing anyone. And I guess Daktari alluded to it. Why don't people choose the right leaders? And it is that information gap that we need to take out. Let it be tied to the normal life of a mwananchi. That way, they'll be able to consider, okay, even at their level, they can be able to understand. Indeed, the first step in an electoral process of taking the voter's card, which you're beginning on 15th February, is very critical. So ladies and gentlemen, let's support this initiative. This partnership is powerful. And we can also join up. You remember there's also them Kenya. 2 songs have been sung over and over, and it's in the same spirit. So when we lift it up on this side and the Kenya side, and we all meet to instill democratic values as a society, we shall be very fine. In fact, 2 weeks ago, I was in a meeting where a diplomat student said, if only I was born a Kenyan. And he said, I know many people are surprised. In fact, he took a Maasai name. I can't recall the name he told us he wants to be called. But he said, Kenyans do not know what they have. And so when he was told to give a few comments about what he has seen in Kenya, he said, Kenya is a very critical. They criticize everything. Even a small initiative, it is killed even before it buds. And he said, if only we can believe in ourselves as a country. Believe does not mean you keep quiet when you see evil. It just means give yourself a chance, the benefit of doubt, that if you have targeted to move from point A to C, then along the way and you falter, you can arise and proceed on. And he said that's the difference between Kenya and a country like Tanzania. I observed elections in Tanzania and I was shocked. In the mornings, as you know, people begin queuing from as early as 3 a.m. You know that, isn't it? In Tanzania, it's the opposite. 9 a.m. stations open. So I was in one of the stations in the city. And this young man says, my gosh, we don't have the register. Then akasema, kaka, ulipeleka wapi sajili? So nafikiri iko kule kwa Bohari. Bohari is the warehouse. So you know what he did? He came out. He said, ndugu zangu nawaomba hivi, sina sajili hapa, nawaomba nyote mketi chini, nitaingia pale daladala, niende, nikuje na sajili. And then the citizens asked, dakika ngapi kaka? Naomba dakika 20. I said, you don't do this in Kenya. You'll be killed. And that taught me a lesson. the trust that they have in each other is so high that indeed they sat down and waited, and it took a whole hour before that polling station was opened. Now, try that in Kenya. What shall we be accused of? Us, because we are the ones who would be telling people, you wait to go, we want to go for the register. What shall we be told? Sabotage. Two?
Rigging.
Yes, we are adding names in the register. Precisely.
You're not supporting this stronghold for particular country.
Exactly. And that is what faces us as IEBC. Yani, we are not given room even for error completely. Because we can make an error, but the error is too expensive in this country. And who will be our ambassadors? Because even us in our offices, don't we make errors? We do, isn't it? We shall be told we are incompetent. We shall be told, and remember, like I will not forget in Bomas when that thing crashed. It was the darkest moment of our lives as IEBC officials. We wondered, what shall we tell the country? What shall we tell them? What shall we say? Where do we begin? We began drafting a press release. I remember I was told to draft that. I reached in the middle, I couldn't. Somebody else was called, began, we couldn't. We were all nervous because we knew guys are not even going to work. They are glued on the screens waiting for results. Then you tell them you're beginning from scratch. So we must kill the ghost of 2013. We have been vilified. In fact, after the elections, all of us went and said we don't want to work for this commission again. Kenya is a very ungrateful nation. We slept tireless nights, toiling, but the best the country can give us is disband this commission. But I know it's because of that emotional moment, and people have always wondered, how come this thing collapsed? It was very easy. Overload. Hakuna kitu ingine. The system that we were using had both the graphic, that is the picture, had data from the whole country, and of course it was also the server that was hosting all these machines that we had. So when the results began coming, the data from every polling station, the machine just collapsed. Nothing else. No story, don't believe every other thing you've had. Neither this or that. The good thing is, we had a hard copy where all political agents signed, and that is what was used to announce the results. And amazingly, no governor ever questioned. The only question that came in was because either of corruption or at the nomination stage during political parties' primaries. MCAs, you didn't even hear their cases in court. There were few. I think we only had, is it 15? And they were dismissed at the courts. And what am I trying to say? It's time that we believed in our systems. We may not be perfect. We are not yet there. But let this message through MDS that we can trust each other in the various sectors. And that's why we're saying don't leave this work to us alone. It is too much. Now we are changing the law, right? Do you want MCAs to have diplomas? Do you want them to be educated? Speak out. Let your voice be heard. We are changing the law. We are saying that at the polling center, you know, one thing people don't know is that kura, ikishapostiwa kwa mlango polling station, nobody can change. So everything is at the polling center, not national. As we just wait for the results from the polling